I want to talk about doubling down on what works. I've heard from my mentors that it is not good to go ahead and try to find a new revenue stream until you double down on what is currently working. A lot of the times people think that the solution to their problem is to find a new thing and a new thing to go after. But the correct thing to do is what I was told was that you're supposed to double down on what works. And that's exactly what I did. So I went and hired a business development representative. Now, what was working for us was working with interior designers and realtors. My name is Steven Mandak, president and founder of Clutch Moving Company. We operate in 2 states, California and Arizona. And in 2025, we were on pace to do $6 million in gross revenue. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down on me hiring the business development representative, what they're doing, what they're targeting, and some of the pros and cons on what they're doing that's beneficial and some of the stuff that's not working. So let's get straight into it. Now, I recently just hired a business development representative sometime in March, and I had no idea on what I was kind of doing or the metrics or anything like that I wanted her to get into. All I knew was that I wanted her to target realtors and interior designers because that was what was working for us. Recently, we just ran a report on how much business interior designers and realtors have given us. Now, the report is pretty crazy. Interior designers in 2024 gave us close to $1 million in gross revenue. It was about $987. And then realtors, they gave us another $800,000 in gross revenue. And the rest, which was about another million and change, because we did about 3 million last year, was through referrals and also paid ads. Now, this was pretty crazy because I didn't realize how much revenue was coming in from customers that kept referring us business. With realtors, they have clients that are moving every single month. And with interior designers, big interior designers have projects that are ongoing and it's consistently going with storage, with receiving, and then installation. With that being said, my thought process was, let's get this business development representative in, and they're gonna go ahead and focus on those 2 aspects and those 2 industries. Now, this is the first thing that I did when I hired over the business development representative. The first thing that I wanted to make sure was that they had a really good personality, because I knew that they're going to be in front of people and they were going to be relationship building, and they're basically going to be the liaison from the company and the face, because I wasn't going to be there anymore. So I had to make sure that they were presentable and they were also, manageable to be around. So that was the first thing that I kind of looked at when hiring the business development representative. Now, when she came in, she really did not have any sales experience at all. Now, I'm a big thing of hiring for attitude. You could train for everything else. And this was a big proponent of that because I knew that the attitude was going to go a long way. As soon as she came in, I trained her, gave her very minimal basic training, kind of showed her what it was, and showed her kind of the moving industry, went through some training videos. And then the first week I was with her, I knew she was going to be a star because I didn't have to tell her how to do anything. She was already on top of it and being very hungry, and just being proactive about some of the things like, outreach. A lot of the times when people are doing outreach, they're typically scared to cold call, they're scared to email, they're scared to do the certain things, but she had no fear. She was like a little beast, and I loved it. One of the things that has gotten us a lot of business is doing these lunch and learns with realtors. I heard this thing where it's like, instead of doing one-to-one, do one-to-many. So whenever we do a lunch and learn presentation, it's one-to-many. It's not just one-to-one networking where you're having coffee, where you're having things like this with a person right in front of you. You're speaking to a crowd and you're speaking to an audience of people. So that's the reason why we like to do that. So her first week that she came in, she had booked close to, I think, like 5 or 6 lunch and learns. Mind you that it was already lunch and learns that we did in the past, but I wanted to make sure that we rebuilt those relationships, because a lot of the times with realtors, you have to stay top of mind and their team is either growing or they're losing people. So you want to make sure that you're there, you're present, and you want to build that relationship. Most importantly, when I was doing it, it was hard for me to consistently build the relationships with all the realtors because there's so many realtors and there's just one of me, and that wasn't the main purpose purpose of my job. The main purpose of my job was to run the company. Now the purpose of her job is to build these relationships with these realtors. So fast forward, it's about a month or 2 months in now, and she's done, I don't know, maybe 10 lunch and learns with some new, some old, some that we've done in the past, but it's been very, very prosperous. And also, it makes you more profitable because your customer acquisition cost is really low because they're referring you based on the relationship that you have. It's not like you're with Google, you're with, SEO or things along those lines where you're having to pay for a lead and you're having to pay a certain cost every single month to get your thing on top or to get, your leads coming in. This is just pure relationship, getting out there, shaking hands and kissing babies, as they would say. So I guess the return on investment so far has been astronomical, right? Astronomical. We pay her a salary, it's close to about $4,000 a month, along with commission and bonuses for certain things and certain metrics that she has to hit. One of the certain metrics that she has to hit is how many meetings she's scheduled, how many lunch and learns that she's scheduled, and things along those lines. And she does get commission for booking estimates. That was a really eye-opening thing that I seen because I'm like, why pay for so many ads when we can just sponsor this, real estate company, $1,000 and they give us tons of work. Now, a lot of the times with the bigger jobs, it's more so relationship referrals because, when you're doing a big job, it's a $5,000, $10,000 job. They don't want to just go on Google. They want a referral for somebody that's trusted. Now, who's to trust? Like, why wouldn't you trust your realtor when they are the person that you make your biggest purchase from? They're not going to steer you away from a $5,000 to $10,000 move or whatever it may be. So that word from that realtor or whoever you're targeting is super important. So it's been super, super prosperous the last couple of months that she's been working with us. And then also with not just the lunch and learns, but she's also been going to a lot of events. Like events where it's like we're sponsoring events. She just recently went to an event for property managers and she got a lead for a 100-room move out and move in, which is probably going to be $250,000. And she's been sponsoring cleanup days for real estate agents. Anything that we could kind of sponsor, we're doing it because we want to get in front of the realtors and we want them to know that we're supporting them and their real estate firm so they can go ahead and support us. And it goes back and forth, vice versa. So that's some of the pros that I have with her, and I've seen it. Some of the cons that I've seen is it doesn't happen with her, but I can see it happening with somebody that's not super motivated. This position is based off of how much effort you put out there. Now, a business development representative is somebody that kind of works on their own schedule because there's events and they have to create for themselves. Now, if you don't have a good business development rep, they're just going to probably be lazy and they're not going to want to do things to go ahead and make money. But the main thing is you want to make sure that you have incentives so that they're able to go do those things. Secondly, with a business development rep, sometimes you may or may not get a quick return on investment. Luckily for me, I was doing the business development before, so I knew where to guide her for her to be basically successful. Now, if you have a business development rep that you don't know where to guide them, or you actually haven't done the processes to be successful, it's gonna be hard to get an ROI on them. I've actually heard of people that they're just sending them to storage facilities or sending them to certain places, and there has to be a process that is going to work. So if they do this process, it's going to work. Like, I'll give you an example. Going over to BNI, which is a networking referral group, I know that's going to work because the main priority or the main subject matter of joining that group is to give business together. Now, another thing would be going to these real estate events. We know that building the relationships with these realtors, we're going to end up getting business back. And it's more so letting your rep know that it's not direct, but you want to make that indirect connection with them. And you don't want to come off as too salesy. So I've got to say that now whenever I open up a new location or wherever I'm going, like even in the Tucson market that I'm doing right now, we're doing full business development with my estimator and myself, and we're building the foundation on it. The reason why is because when you build relationships and you have a strong foundation, it's going to be consistent, versus when you're with Google or you're with something else like that, it's like a one and done move. And a lot of the times on Google, SEO, whatever, pay-per-click, Yelp, whatever it is, they're very concerned about the price. We have a very low close rate when it comes to paid ads. They're so cheap, versus when we're working with realtors, they're paying top dollar, and we know that they have money because they probably just sold a house or they're just about to buy a house. So it's easier to deal with that type of customer. And when you have that good relationship with that realtor, interior designer, whoever it is, it's a no-brainer. They're just gonna say, okay, let's move forward. So I mean, you know, with realtors, we're at anywhere from 60 to 70% close rate. And then with paid ads, we're probably at anywhere from 20 to 30%. And mind you, we're not paying for every single referral that we're getting. I mean, we do have some promos that we have going on, but it's not the same as paying $100 per lead, $200 per lead. So my suggestion, if you're looking to hire somebody or a business development representative, you want to make sure that you're doing that first. I've actually had people ask me, like, what can I do to get off of the truck? What can I do to focus more on my business? And you know, my thought process is, you know, to get off the truck, you have to make a schedule to go ahead and create relationships, to create a stronger foundation for your company. Because a lot of the times, relationships is what's going to keep your company growing. My company grew significantly during the downturn where every single moving company was going out of business or they were losing money. The reason why is because I focused on relationships. People are still going to be moving, right? But there's not going to be a huge influx of people moving. So I focused on the relationships, and the people that were moving came to me instead of going to Google Ads where they got bottom of the barrel. They came to me because I had the relationships. I knew that the realtors were going to touch them first, and since they touched them first, they referred them out to me. That's pretty much my experience so far with my business development representative. I'll probably be making another video in a couple of months to let you know how well she's doing, because I know she's going to be crushing it. If I could go back, I would probably hire a business development representative sooner. See you on the next video.